Hello everyone and welcome to your NARSA weekly update for the week commencing Monday the 9th of January 2023. It's Gary here again and well, we had a game that was at the weekend, folks. Yes, we did, for the first time in what feels like forever. It really was. We had a game on a weekend. Remember those things, games on the weekend? It was nice to get back to some sense of normalcy and kind of have to get up a wee bit earlier on a weekend game for a wee change, and it was actually not too bad because it was 9 a.m. where I am, so it wasn't too early a start to get us back into the weekend fixtures, but that was nice and pleasant. Firstly, for this week, I didn't want to start by acknowledging that I didn't mention the anniversary of the Ibrox disaster that took place on our actual recording day last week, which was, of course, the 2nd of January. And that was it was just a total miss on my behalf, totally my bad and completely unintentional. With the festive period and the lack of kind of genuine routine, and I didn't get as much desk time as I normally get, and a whole bunch of different excuses that kind of affected my ability to get some research done for the pod, and I inadvertently missed this one. It wasn't until after I actually sent the recording away for the packaging, that I then started to look on the internet, and I was like, oh my word, that was a bit of a miss. So, and it's all the more ironic, quite frankly, because I do have a tattoo commemorating the significant moment in Rangers history as well. So to miss out on it was just silly. And so if anyone was wondering and or upset by the fact that I didn't include it last week, no one did get in touch to say that they were upset about it, so that's a good thing. But if you were, please accept my apologies and just know that that is not my typical MO, and I will do my very, very best to make sure that that will not happen again. I'm going to blame the Old Firm game for last week and the excitement of trying to get recorded as quickly as possible after the game time to see what that looked and felt like. Anyway, on to the game segment. For the week, we just the one game, of course, last week, and it was yesterday's 2-0 win away at Tannadice against Dundee United, with the goals coming. What was that first goal like? An absolutely brilliant opener from Fashion Sakala. What a move, actually, and what a finish. And second from Malik Tillman. Remember, I keep saying about what his stats must be like from when Beale arrived. If I've got time this week, I don't actually think I will have, but if I do have time this week, I'm going to actually try and see what his stats look like since Beale arrived in the 6 games that he's played, because in terms of the contribution and his goals return as well, it must be incredible. Anyway, the first half admittedly was pretty pants, wasn't it? It just was not good at all. Not a whole lot to report at all in the first half there in terms of chances or even entertainment of any note, really. But the second half, got better. It kind of started a wee bit like how the first had kind of played out, but then we had that one fantastic move, and as I mentioned earlier there, what about that finish? To flick it up with the one foot and then rifle it home in the volley with the other foot. That's goal of the season contender right there, not just for the finish but for the move that led up to that, which he himself started. And then I thought we stepped it up a gear and were in brilliant shape really for the remainder of the half, and didn't look like we were in any danger at all. In fact, I think over the course of the whole game I'm talking about now, I think I just remember the one real attacking chance that Dundee United had in the first half that we kind of took care of. John McLaughlin kind of broke up that play there, and other than that we were defensively solid. It looks like Connor Goldson and Davies there have really got that partnership feel to it that we kind of hoped that they would have until the injuries kind of took their toll there for that period of time. But we were very defensively solid and it looked like a unit, from back to front. And so yeah, long may that sort of stuff continue. Positives from the game, the result, of course, and the quality of the goals, as I mentioned. Another clean sheet for Michael Beale's team is again progress for the team, because clean sheets were quite hard to come by under Giovanni van Bronckhorst. And I didn't think overall it was a particularly great performance by Dundee United specifically. Usually they're a wee bit more up for it, but I was delighted that after that kind of downer of a first half, that the team, Rangers, didn't play down to the opposition like we have or had at least a habit of doing with certain teams in this league. and it doesn't seem to be discernible to either home or away. We have a habit of doing that either home or away, so that's a positive that we didn't do that. We just kept plugging away, and Michael Beale did what he does at half time and gave us the impetus to go and win the match. Another positive, Alan McGregor got a wee bit of a rest, and John McLaughlin came in and didn't, as I mentioned, have a whole hell of a lot to do. But he looked okay because he's an okay goalkeeper, and it was quite interesting to hear Michael Beale's comments before the match on Rangers TV when he was prompted to answer why John McLaughlin was in and Alan McGregor wasn't, and he said that, basically because I've chosen that John gets a chance to start, he believes that John deserves a chance to start, and he mentioned the fact that we've got three goalkeepers who could be first choice as well. So hopefully that was a wee bit of a nod of the head or a tip of the cap to Robbie McCrory as well, to say, you've signed that new deal. That doesn't mean that you're going to be on the outside, that you're going to get a chance. And I would like to see him get a chance in net as well. So we'll see how that goes. Negatives from the game, quite honestly, not too many negatives when you go away to a venue that can be a little bit thorny for us, certainly in the last couple of years, of 2 or 3 seasons, and come away with the 3 points, a clean sheet, and no real drama. I think that's pretty good. So not very negative there. Yeah, the first half was instantly forgettable. I don't think we'll ever talk about that again. But from the second half was very good, and is another glimpse of where Michael Beale wants to take us. You can tell that. And one wee negative was that Tony Goals did return for the first half. Didn't really do a whole hell of a lot of anything. I think he had one shot maybe on target, and it just didn't seem to be working. And I thought he got taken off at half time because it wasn't working for him. And remember, that's the first time Michael Beale has had a chance to see him in action. But my understanding is that he might have another injury now. I was just reading the report there before I started recording on Sky Sports, that where Michael Beale had said that his injury is not the same calf injury he had before, it's a different one, but it's a wee bit lower down, kind of more towards his Achilles. So that's obviously a concern and a real downer as well. So hopefully nothing too serious. He did make it sound like them taking him off was a wee bit more precautionary rather than him actually breaking down and not being able to continue. So hopefully that's the case, and we can see Tony Goals back sooner rather than later. Obviously with Kamal Roof being there and Alfredo Morelos getting some game time as well, it's maybe not quite as dire as it was when he went off injured. Then that 5-6 game, but I guess when was it, November time, whenever it was, that he got injured in the first place. So as I say, hopefully nothing serious. On the referee watch, Stephen McLean didn't do a whole lot wrong that I can remember. I don't think. He might have gotten his card book out a wee bit earlier for some persistent, niggly, annoying stuff, but for whatever reason he decided to wait until injury time at the very end of the game to produce the only yellow card of the game. And then there was another potential handball VAR check that again came to nothing, as the rules state if your hands are next to your body, then it's not a penalty. But I'm sure the conspiracy theorists out there from the East End will be salivating over that one. But on referee Stephen McLean, I don't remember being hugely annoyed by him, so he'll get the staple 7 out of 10 for a job decently done. Just the one game this week, and it's the League Cup semi-final at Hampden against Aberdeen, and this one is on Sunday, the 15th of January, and that's a 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time kickoff, 3 p.m. in the UK. And the last time we played Aberdeen was, of course, that magnificent injury time Scotty Arfield show at Pittodrie not so long ago, to absolutely break their spirits and their hearts and their minds, and it was brilliant and good to rub it right in them. And as nice as that was, I just to be straight and for the record, I'd much prefer that we take proper care of business during the regular 90 minutes this time, with no real drama or carnage or garbage like that, and cement our place in the final. It's such, I have to say, on that, it's such strange timing that we have when we have the first semi-final on Saturday afternoon UK time, of course, for two teams from the west of Scotland, very close essentially to Hampden, and then on Sunday afternoon for the biggest of the two matches, and this one involves a team who have to travel there from the northeast of Scotland, and we're playing on the Sunday. Not that I'm advocating for Aberdeen or their fans at all, because I can't stand them, but my word, SFA, like surely you could do something a wee bit more sensible than that, and not have the fathers travelling support have to come down on the Sunday and then try and get back on a Sunday night, you know, before the work week starts again. At least play that one on the Saturday, be a wee bit fair. But I guess what do I know? And I kind of don't really care as long as Rangers get the result that we desperately need. For RTV, I didn't hear anything at all on RTV this past weekend, which is a good thing. And just the usual kind of recommendation, if you, especially when we've got a week in between games, because it's been quite some time since we've done that, like just make sure your account is good and set up and up to speed so that you're in good shape to get the game incident free on Sunday. And this is a League Cup and it is included in your RTV package for the season, so no additional logistics or costs or anything like that in there. For shout-outs for this past week, I did want to pass on a very special and very, very belated happy 70th birthday to the Rangers Supporters Club of Calgary's very own Vice President, Alec Liddell, who was 70 in early December. Now, I knew it was Alex's birthday. I just didn't realise, for some reason I had it in my head, he was 69 in December there. So I don't even remember why I didn't particularly mention it at the time, because normally I would if I could, but for it to be his 70th and then for me to just let it pass and such a significant birthday, that's totally my bad on that one, Alex. I'm sorry about that. I will buy you a pint the next time I can. I got suitably chastised over a beer at the club yesterday after the game for that one. So Alex, for those who know him, is not very backward at coming forward. And I guess he decided to wait just over a month and then just give me it right on the chin, which he did, and I fully deserved it. So my apologies and belated happy birthday, my friend. Sorry about that again. A wee update on my sister Debbie, who, as I told you last week, had a bit of a fall outside my house after a few wobbly pops, and after the bells on New Year. She had a hell of a week last week, an awful week, quite frankly, but did have surgery on Friday and is now at home recovering and not feeling as bad as she was last week, because the pain was absolutely incredible for her. So hopefully she's on the road now solidly to recovery, and she'll go back in a couple of weeks and see what they say about the recovery, and then we'll get a wee bit more information about that. So for anybody that cares, Debbie is doing okay now. I care, so hopefully she'll be okay as time goes on. I also received a bit of an update today from Brian Campbell, who had alerted me to the passing of a fellow by the name of Ian Campbell, who my understanding is no relation to Brian, but was a founding member of the Sarnia Rangers Supporters Club over in Ontario. And Ian's wife Julie had put a post on Facebook which was forwarded or mentioned, or I don't know what the terminology is on Facebook, my apologies, by Therese Ferguson, and it said, "What a wonderful lifetime of memories I have with my darling Ian, who passed this morning. His health struggles are now over." And there was a cracking picture with the two of them, with some lovely scenery in the background as well. So I didn't know Ian personally, but I do understand that he loved life. He loved his wife and his family, and also the world famous Glasgow Rangers. So on behalf of NARSA, I would like to pass on our sincere condolences to Julie, Ian's family and friends, and everyone at the Sarnia, the now defunct Sarnia club, but who still are going strong and supporting the team from over there as well. So such sad news to start the year with, but sincere condolences from everyone over here at NARSA. On to NARSA 2023 and the convention update. I can officially confirm it's 156 days and 22 weeks until Toronto Midtown go ballistic in the centre of Toronto and give us a party that we will not forget. A reminder of the hotel rooms and the convention tickets are still on sale. And as I mentioned last week, or maybe over the last couple of shows, that I do expect to see a lot of activity. They're not sold out yet, so don't worry too much about that. But please don't wait too long either. If you are planning on attending, please don't delay, and then you'll get what you need by booking the hotel and the tickets. Just a reminder that the tickets are 225 Canadian dollars for all 3 nights, and that includes the grand banquet, includes the Tam Plunkett Blue night, and includes the welcome night. Obviously that's in reverse order. The welcome night's the first night, the Walter Smith Memorial Grand Banquet is the last night. Now here, to add a wee bit of context to that, $225 Canadian for 3 nights of entertainment with your brothers and sisters from all over the world and there to celebrate being a Blue Nose and celebrate everything Rangers Football Club. I was speaking to a pal of mine at the club yesterday, Jimmy Hutchins, and he was asking if I was going to the Calgary Burns Club's Burn Supper this month. And I said, oh, right, maybe I'll check my calendar, see what the dates are. How much are the tickets? And the tickets were, I think it was either $235 or $240 Canadian for one night of entertainment. That includes a haggis dinner, it includes a nip of whiskey as well, some Highland dancing, and then a keynote speaker from back home as well. But for one night's entertainment, it's $240 for 3 nights of world class entertainment, including, you know, of course, the Pride of the Rock Flute Band, including Cy Ferry as the DJ, including some Rangers VIP legends, which I'll get to in a second here, and including, you know, getting a chance to see and celebrate how things are done in Toronto. I think that's cheap at half the price. I really do. So another reminder that the Holiday and Flight Centre have their full packages on sale for folks coming from the UK. So if you are interested in that, you can either call Rosie and team at the number that I'll put in the blurb for tonight, or you can go to attheconvention.com, all one word, attheconvention.com, and you'll get to see what they have to offer. And that's just a one-stop shop of experience, from flights to transfers in Toronto to your event tickets to your hotel rooms as well. So if you're interested in a one-stop shop, then please go there and Rosie and team will look after you. So a little bit of a guest announcement, and I haven't had a chance to do that for this convention this year, and I know we're in January and we have been waiting on some answers from folks and the like, but you will see, or you will hear a little bit more about guest announcements over the next wee while. But as I mentioned before, what we do every year is we say to the local host club, give us a list of 3 to 5 of your preferred candidates that you would like to have us approach and see if they can come over, and then that's exactly what we do. We approach them and then we get an idea of exactly whether they can or are willing to make it over. We did that with the host club, and one of the people that were on their list is none other than the legend that is Mr. Willie Henderson. Yes, it's not many players in world football who can say that they've played in teams alongside legends like George Best and Puskas and Alfredo Di Stefano, and of course playing with teammates, Rangers legends Jim Baxter, Davy Wilson, Ralph Brand and Jimmy Miller. But Willie Henderson did just that, and I'll give you a wee bit of a bio here. He signed for Rangers back in 1959 at aged just 15 years of age, and they fought off about 45 clubs at the time, from some big heavyweights like Tottenham, Liverpool, Manchester United, and then he made his debut a couple of years later in front of 45,000 fans in a 2-1 win over Clyde. Went on to make 426 appearances for Rangers, scoring 62 goals in the process. And that's quite incredible when at that time, in that era, the winger's main job was just to provide chances for the strikers. It wasn't actually to score them, in and of themselves. He won 2 league championships, 4 Scottish Cups and 2 League Cups, including a treble in 1963-64, and he was also part of the Rangers team who reached the final of the European Cup Winners' Cup in both 1960-61 and 60-67, and as well he played in the same competition from 71 to 72, but had actually left the club by the time the team went to Barcelona to actually pick up the trophy at the third time of asking, or certainly at the third time of Willie's era of asking as well. And he was also capped 29 times for the national team. Willie's support of NARSA since we had a chance to get him over in Vancouver in 2016 has been nothing short of incredible. He would do anything for us. I think you might remember me talking before, for regular listeners anyway, that he was signed up to come over to Las Vegas, and then he had a conflict with the Lee Rigby Memorial football event that was going on around about the same time, and he had already committed to doing that. That's the type of style of guy that he is. Makes a commitment, he will stick to it. So he was gutted not being able to make it to Vegas, but when I spoke to him I think it was last Thursday, we finally got a chance to actually chat on the phone, and he was thrilled to be asked again and delighted to be coming along, and absolutely jumped at the chance as well. And if anybody has had any time in Willie's company, you'll know how great company he actually is, and the stories don't ever seem to end. Some of the VIPs we get they've got their kind of bank of stories. Willie's doesn't seem to actually have any end to it. He's just got a story for everything. He can sit with you for hours and hours and hours. And what a fascinating, entertaining and brilliant servant and ambassador for the club that we've managed to snag there. So yeah, Willie Henderson is our first official VIP that we have announced, and we are working on some others right now, literally right now as I speak. So hopefully we'll get more announcements over the next wee while. So if anyone's actually waiting to see who's coming, hopefully over the next wee while, as we build up the pool of VIPs that are coming, that'll convince you that this is going to be an event not to be missed. Just a wee reminder from the convention, and an extension to the convention, that the NARSA exec are going to be in, what's that now? That must be about 3 weeks, I guess, 3 weeks on Friday. The first weekend in February, that's the 3rd to the 5th, to do a hotel walkthrough, meet with the hotel staff, enjoy a game with the Toronto Midtown Club, which will be probably at the time still with the Toronto Central, or at the Toronto Central location. We do still have to figure out our logistics for the general meeting, which is going to be in that weekend time frame as well. I sincerely hope it is. If the logistics don't work out for that, we might just have to host it the next again weekend and just do it over Zoom, like we did during the COVID restricted times as well. But hopefully it will be that weekend if we can get the logistics to be organised as much as we come. So more to come on that. But as I mentioned before, if you're in the area and fancy coming down, we'll have a few beers certainly on the Friday night for sure. Well, we'll have a few beers the whole weekend, quite honestly, but we'll probably try and organise something on the Friday night formally, and then hopefully get a chance to catch up with some old and new friends at the same time. On the excursions, we've had a couple of inquiries on the excursions of what it is we're trying to get organised. I know Andy and John and team are working very hard on that. Some of the events that they're trying to organise were kind of in a little bit of cold storage towards the end of last year, and saying we're not really ready to talk logistics and commitments until January. So we're in January now and we're ready to go. So my understanding is that the golf will be the first one to get organised, and that should be sometime this month to get organised for that. As soon as we have the details, the Toronto Midtown team will get them out there. We'll get that out in conjunction with ourselves as well, to reach as many people as we can and start to get those sold out as well. So, stay tuned. More information to come on VIP guests, on excursions and the like over the next wee while. On the communication section, not a whole hell of a lot really going on from a communication perspective over the last wee while. You know what I've actually had as a bit of a note to talk about from the communication front this last wee while? When I was talking, for regular listeners, at the beginning of December, I guess it probably was about a month ago, we did a kind of wee special on the Dave King interview with Club 1872, and my understanding was that the two videos that they had posted on their private YouTube channel, or maybe it's not private, but on their YouTube channel, that was parts 1 and 2 of 3. So I was expecting the third one, and I've never got wind that there actually is a third one that's been published. So if anyone here is a member of Club 1872, I am not, and you have that information, please send it over, and I'd love to do a wee bit of a synopsis and kind of round off the third instalment, if there is indeed a third instalment on that. But I did thoroughly enjoy the first two. I know Dave, and I really enjoy him talking, and some of the stuff was quite grim listening, quite honestly. It wasn't all positive, but it was it's always good to hear from him and hear where he's at and hear what his plans are and what he's doing and things like that. So yeah, I'd like to see if there actually is a third part to that and kind of round that one off, as I say. But the main thing I did commit to last week was trying to source to see whether we could actually get tickets for the Five Stars Captain's Dinner event, which was last Thursday and Friday. We didn't manage to secure them. To actually wait so late was my bad. I mentioned that last week, and then just in the final throes, it was just too much to try and have them kind of stop and organise. It was too much inconvenience for them, quite rightly so. I know what it's like in the final throes of organising any events over here in Calgary, or the conventions in and of themselves, and for somebody to trap up in the last week and go, hey, can you get some tickets, is a tad annoying, quite frankly. So I don't say that with any disparity or anything like that, if that's even a word. I don't know what it is, but by all accounts, the event, both events were completely sold out, of course, and everybody had a brilliant time from what I could see. The limited stuff that I've seen online, I have to admit, it's not very often I envy my Blue Nose brothers and sisters back home, but this was one that would have been an absolutely brilliant event to have been part of. And they had, for those that don't know, they had Richard Gough, they had Barry Ferguson, they had Davy Weir, they had Lee McCulloch, they had Lorenzo Amoruso, they had Terry Butcher, and they had Craig Moore all there. I mean, what a list of absolute heavyweights and stalwarts of some hugely successful times in Rangers history as well. And what a plethora of stories, in terms of, 9 in a row, and in terms of, some of the managers that they would have worked under and for. And even, thinking more about Lee McCulloch there, and the turmoils he would have had during his captaincy in the lower divisions and that sort of thing. There must have been some incredible stories, and the MC for the event was RTV's very own Tom Miller, and he always does a good job of that sort of stuff as well. So maybe we'll get a chance to see some video footage or whatever, but some of the photographs and stuff were to be envied, I have to admit, and I don't mind admitting that for such heavyweights there as well. Okay, folks, that will do it for this week. As always, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank every single one of you for listening. I don't take that your time lightly, and please do share it with whomever you think might enjoy it. Until next week, I hope you have a great week, and this time when I talk to you again next week, that we have a League Cup final to look forward to against Kilmarnock on the 26th of February. So until next week, please do take care of yourself, and all the very best, folks. Okay, cheerio.